Just pushed recording. We're on. Hey, everybody, it's Kim Shivler. Welcome. Today, we are going to be niching luxury adventures. Wow. I'm really looking forward to this one because it's one that I have been wanting to go on. So I am going to actually hand it over to Dagmar in just a minute. She's going to introduce us to our wonderful guest, Lisa Montgomery, who does luxurious fishing adventures in Alaska and all other kinds of cool places. I'm Kim Shivler. As I said, I teach people how to build online training courses. You can find me at howtobuildanonlinecourse.com. And I will be managing the sidebar today, so you will see my posts and I will be putting my links and Dagmar's links and Lisa's links in the sidebar. So visit us online. All right, Daggy, I'm turning it over to you.
Right. Thank you, Kim. And thank you so much for joining us, Lisa. I'm Dagmar Gatell. I'm an SEO expert and I help entrepreneurs to grow their authority and to become a leading, well-known go-to expert worldwide. And I'm so excited to have Lisa with us on this blog.
Well, thanks for having me. You're the reason I'm so well niched. So I'm happy to help.
Thank you.
All right, Daggy, you're going to get her started with some questions or her bio?
Well, get started with her bio.
Okay, everybody. So Lisa Montgomery fell in love with sports fishing 10 years ago. She took a trip to Alaska, found herself in a remote and pristine region and went, wow. She just experiencing the sheer natural beauty of the earth and the sea. Friendly people. And I mean, hey, what's not to love about fishing? And I've had the joy of experiencing some of the salmon this woman catches. And let me tell you, it'll ruin you forever for wanting to buy it at the store again. Really good stuff. So as she fell in love with it, she birthed a business out of it, and Luxurious Fishing Vacations was born. Lisa's a sales pro. Boy, that's the truth. And she helps her clients experience that journey of traveling to the untamed, untouched wilderness, world-class meals. I mean, this is not the roughing it vacations, folks. This is real luxury, even though you are out in the wilderness. And getting a satisfying sleep in a beautiful lodge at the end of the day, capturing those memories and experiencing everything that Mother Earth has to offer. So welcome, Lisa. Yay. Sounds like a great journey.
Oh, thanks. It is. I just like being spoiled. So that's why we do it that way.
Yes, we do know that about Lisa. She's I would say Lisa and I are alike in that roughing it for us is a hotel without room service.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Adventure with Lisa.
So, Dagmar, how about if you get started with your questions?
I don't have the question right now because I experienced technical issues. So go ahead and ask them, please.
Okay, I will. So, Lisa, we've heard a little bit about your story and introduction here. Why are you so passionate about helping the clients get this once-in-a-lifetime experience?
Well, for me, and since I personally experienced this, I know that people are spending, they spend a lot of time. We just got through with Christmas. Everybody feels all this pressure to buy each other things. And it's really about, as we all know, it's about our time on the planet with each other. It's being in touch with nature again. I mean, everybody remembers being a kid and being outside and loving it. Well, now we don't even do that anymore. Everybody's in front of a screen, just like we are now. I love my screens, but I also love, people don't even get quiet with themselves for half an hour just to think anymore. And I think I provide a great service in reintroducing them to that and hopefully helping them with their relationships and their connections with other people and themselves for the most part. Oh,
that's great. Why the luxury adventure?
Well, you have to have a service belief or you can't sell. I mean, for me, it's if someone walks in the door and it's not the right deal for them, I don't want them to have it. It's not about the money for me. It's about their experience. And that's Excellent. What everybody needs to take away who does any kind of sales.
Absolutely. It needs to be for what the customer wants.
Right.
And so what made you then want the luxury vacation, fishing vacations, as opposed to some other adventure type? What was it about the fishing piece that drew you in?
Good question. When I took that trip to Alaska, I talked about with my family. I experienced such amazing things, and it brought us so much closer that I never even thought about something else. I never ever went to Disneyland with them again. I never did any organized thing like that again. After that, it was, we're going to go find someplace extreme and go have a great time. And so, I mean, my kids grew up like surfing in Panama and fishing in Panama and going all kinds of places, right? We didn't, after that, we all looked forward to it. We knew it was going to be an adventure. There were going to be all kinds of crazy things that came up because we were in different places of the world that we had no idea existed. And you get to know the people all over the world. And it was just a vehicle to have those kinds of experiences as a family. So it just worked out that way.
Excellent. That's pretty nice family vacations there. So how about niching? Let's talk about, Dagmar helped you niche this business. Would you recommend that, if someone's trying to build that online business and they're offering any type of business travel, adventure travel, what would you recommend them about niching that as opposed to just being broad?
Well, the more finely you're niched, the better your business gets. And everybody has a big fear around, I'm never going to get enough business. I'm never going to, I need to keep reaching and reaching. No, you don't. You need to get more and more narrow. And when you do that, that's when you find your perfect client. That's when, everybody's like, tell me who your perfect client is, so you can do your marketing. That's how you find them, by narrowing it down. And what Dagmar really helped me with was, my business was guideline to adventure. Okay. Well, to me and someone in my industry, guide, fishing guide, guideline made a lot of sense. It was, oh yeah, and you're on an adventure, because we always considered it an adventure. It means nothing to anyone. How broad is that? So when Dagmar had a lot of fun talking me into the name of my business, which is Luxurious Fishing Vacations. But you know what that did? Immediately things just fell into place. All of a sudden I went, that is exactly what this is. And
tell the story with Oprah's boyfriend.
Oh, well, I had an opportunity to present my business to Stedman Graham. And when I first started talking, my business is guideline to adventure. It's just like everybody's eyes start to glaze over, like, okay, one more travel person who doesn't know what the hell they're doing, right? And but then I said, but I'm getting ready to launch a website and rebrand as Luxurious Fishing Vacations. And man, he perked up like no other. It was like, that is great. It ought to be Luxurious Fishing and Golf Vacations, Lisa, because he loves to golf. And I was like, I listened to that one. Okay, got on the internet that night, locked up URLs all over the place that I still have. And, but I mean, that shows you the power in it. I mean, that shows you the power in having the right name, having the right niche, is people immediately identify, and I get qualified leads. I don't have people calling me going, do you own a boat in Florida? No, there's none of that going on at all. So you have that word luxurious in there, and people know it's not like, you've talked about, we're not going to stay in a cabin by the lake somewhere that's, got bugs and stuff in it. So
we're not going to fishing camp.
No, don't fish camp.
I grew up going to fishing camps, and my mother's on here too. She knows what I'm talking about. So
really luxurious in this way is a trigger word. You mean, like, it makes people, one thing is fishing vacations, which is a great keyword, but really the luxury and the luxurious part of it makes people aware of, and you immediately attract your ideal client. You don't have to deal with all the masses you cannot satisfy anyway.
Right. And it's interesting because every once in a while I'll get a request that comes through online that says, how much are these vacations? And I'm just like, you're not my client. I just know that it's like, I don't discount them. I always correspond with everyone, but I know nothing's going to happen there.
That makes definite sense.
for the experience. They're going just for a price comparison. And that's tough. Like Lisa, wouldn't you say the travel industry, if you go for pricing, then you compete with Expedia and whatever, travel advisor and all these. Like if you go in the price direction, I think you die.
I think that's a very good point. And also something I've had to convince a couple of the lodges I work with is raise your prices and we're never discounting again. Mm-hmm. I mean, and they're like, oh, that makes us uncomfortable. I'm like, you got to make money. And I mean, people think you're rolling in money when you run one of these lodges. You're not. It's a lot of hard work, right, with a low margin. But it's just expensive to operate. But it's interesting because I'm like, no, we're not discounting. And it makes your product that much more valuable. You know, it's like, oh, do I get a show discount if we go to a sports show? Nope, no discounts. You get such a great, you know, that's when you get to go, let me tell you what you're going to get. So. Right.
Because it's really all what's the intent, right? If there's intent is to get a cheapy beepy travel package, then they always will look for getting the most out of it. And perhaps they are not the most pleasant client where compared to if they are going for what is my experience and once in a lifetime, is it for my family or hanging out with my buddies or experience something in the nature, which I normally don't do 12 months long because I work in the office.
Right, right. It's kind of funny. I had a client this year that said, you know, I followed up with him after the trip and he's going, oh my gosh, we caught so many fish. Guide was great. Fishing was perfect. La, la, la. Couldn't say enough. The food's great. Couldn't say enough about it. And I said, okay. He goes, well, there's only one thing I'd change. I said, what's that? And he goes, the price. It's too expensive. And I just laughed. I went, your value system is screwed up, buddy, but whatever you want to think. Do you know what I mean? It's like people have their own value system around what is in value, what is valuable, what is, you know, what is worth paying for. Someone's always like, oh, nobody will spend this much money on this makeup. And I'm like, women will spend money on makeup before they'll spend money on food. Do you know what I mean? So it's like they may not take themselves out to have the nicest meal, but they'll buy the best makeup. So you don't know how much money somebody has. You don't know what their value system is. So I never, ever, ever have any attachment to whether somebody buys or not. That's a huge thing. People get all wound up, oh, this person's really got to buy from me because they have a lot of fear or whatever. You can't, because there's no way you can control their value system. You have to just kind of leave all that open. Hopefully they'll see the value and it matches up with what they want. Sorry, I got off on a tangent there.
No, that makes sense. Definitely. Well, and that's all part of your niche, so it absolutely makes sense.
It is.
I think too, what you did in an awesome way, like with the cold weather and the warm weather, like who would think of that? But I can totally see that there are people who don't want to fish in the cold weather or don't want to fish in the warm weather or just want to choose one or the other.
Or don't know there are a lot of those people, which I don't understand, like a little physical discomfort over not going to someplace amazing. But that's my value system, right? I'm just like, people are like, I can't go to Alaska and get cold. I'm like, man, you are missing out. But the other thing is they don't understand the difference in the fishing. So for somebody just looking around and exploring, they don't know what the difference is. So it's kind of fun to see the different species and some of that too.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think in general, when you go into the luxury adventure, it's one thing what your client imagines or assumes, and the other thing is really what you experience. Because I believe you have to be there, that you really know what's possible, what's not possible, what are awesome aha moments you wouldn't find by just Googling it online. You need to have an expert who was there, who really experienced it on their own and then shares it with you.
Right. And there's so many details to these remote locations. You've got to go and do it. Otherwise, you don't know what you're sending somebody into. And I just cannot, I would not be able to sleep at night if I did that. I did send somebody, a couple groups up to a lodge in British Columbia last year. And guess what I'm doing this year? I'm going to British Columbia to that lodge because it's got a great reputation. Everything's good. But until you experience it, you cannot really, like I said, you can't get the details right, and you can't in your heart go, oh my gosh, this is the right thing for you or not the right thing for you. You know, you have to know that you're sending them to the right place. People typically don't fight you. If I had somebody call me about going to Alaska and I was like, I don't think that's your deal. I think this British Columbia thing's your deal. And they ended up loving it. They're taking a group this year, you know, so it did end up being the different experience for them. But the biggest mistake, you know, when we talk about niching, the biggest mistake people make, I think, honestly, and it really revolves around making a really good amount of money, is they'll say, I'm niched in, let's say honeymoons. And then you see them constantly searching and searching and searching, trying to put together this honeymoon for somebody like in, let's say, in a ski resort. So they're constantly putting together new packages. They're constantly having to research. If they just would narrow it down, niche it, however, and only have 5 or 10 locations that they work really closely with and they get a really good commission on, that's the niche. You don't keep constantly wandering around just because, you know, you're supposedly a honeymoon expert. I could do that too. I have people call me, well, I really want to kind of go here, and I go, I don't do that. I don't care how much money you have. I don't do that. Because otherwise I spend all my time researching, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah. You know what?
You can't be an expert at everything.
Right.
No.
So
great point, Lisa. So it's really, when you niche down, you need to know both, right? You need to know, is there a demand online? Will people look for this, right? Are people searching for that? But also, what is your profitability? What you just said.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense to approach a luxury niche if there's no money to make. So
right. And it's funny, Dagmar, because one thing that you and I have discussed before is that the searches for Alaska are huge. Searches for Central America, where I have a lot of places, not very much at all, right?
Right.
So where am I really going to spend my time researching and working? It's going to be on that end. And actually, Canada's a pretty good place right now too. But, you know, for a while there, I was really hot going, oh no, I got to have all this stuff, and I've really got to be down there. And you were like, but I'm telling you, there's just not the people out there looking for it. So that's something else. You have to listen to your SEO expert. You know, we all get these things in our heads, and it sounds like a great idea, but if you will really listen to what the facts are telling you, you save yourself a lot of time, and you'll make a lot more money, you know, in the meantime, versus spinning off somewhere to try and figure out something new. So
yeah, absolutely. Just make money. I know that you want to help your to get this once in a lifetime experience, or once in every year experience.
mm-hmm.
But it's all about creating memories. It's all about kind of finding yourself, right? Finding really your core and doing something what you enjoy, and perhaps it helps you for personal development or whatever, or makes a better partner or a better father or whatever. So it's really so much more than just selling luxury adventure travel.
Oh, it is. That's just the vehicle. You know, that's just the thing you use to get them there to have some experience that's not just the regular grind of their day-to-day work.
absolutely. Would you say, Lisa, is there a formula to niching any luxury business for sales and conversions? Like any of your travel businesses, could you niche it and improve it? Is there a formula for that?
I could probably write a formula, but I'm sure there is. And you two may be, I know Dagmar's familiar with the Gift Network, Gift Travel Network. They do a really good job. I know Dagmar works with them some. And, but for me, if you, almost in any business, I would think, if you want to look for an item that has a high rate of, I'm going to call it commission, because I work on commission. When I work with a lodge, I get a big chunk on of commission from the lodge. Now, my other little stuff that makes people happy, because half of them are terrified going, I don't know how to get there, and I got to be there at certain times. I do airfare, I'll do hotels, I'll do some of that, but that's just, I'll do travel insurance, but that's just little stuff. I care about that big dollar amount item. I don't care if they buy the other stuff. If it helps them, I'm happy to provide it. If it doesn't, I don't care. So you got to have that. You can't have 20 little things. You can't be afraid to sell the big thing. You've got to have that. Otherwise, you're just going to be running around like a hamster on a wheel, working and working and working and wondering why you aren't making any money. You can only sell so many lipsticks, right? You got to have something else to sell.
I think what you just said, Lisa, you need to have the back end set up for your niching in the front end, right? If your back end does not fulfill your promise from the front end that you offer 15 different luxury adventure packages, right? And your back end is struggling with providing them the itinerary or booking the flights or just making sure that everything, then it's better to provide less, but then make sure that the customer satisfaction is there.
Right. Or the other thing you can do is you can hire somebody to do that part. I mean, I know somebody who actually tried to hire me to sell their fishing trips. They do what I do. And so they tried to hire me, but you know what all these places have? They have a travel agency they use. So that they sell the fishing trip, then they farm out the travel part of it. So there are always ways to get it done. You know, but like I said, you got to be the one that gets the big dollar item.
Right. So at the end, what you're saying, there needs to be a process in place. So when you niche it, when you figure out in the front end, what are people interested? What is a luxury adventure niche? What people are interested in, where there's an ongoing demand. So then in the back end, what's the process, how you can fulfill it and make money? Because the profitability comes in, what do you do with the leads, right?
Right. And it's kind of interesting because the thing that just popped into my head was two things. One was that people spend too much time getting their process in place. You know, they spend all their time on their logo. They spend all their time getting things in place versus selling. But the problem is if your sales blow up and your process isn't in place, you are screwed. And you could really have your business go flat after that because you can't provide and you've had this beautiful opportunity, right? So you really have to be willing to ask people for help and get things set up the best you can. And we all learn along the way, you know?
Yeah, we do.
I've obviously had that happen. I had the phone one day, I thought everything was fine. And I didn't know that there was a television show that was going to air and it aired and I ended up with 150 phone calls in one day. I was like, holy crap. And it was like over some 3-day holiday, you know, like President's Day or something. And I just told my husband, I'm not going to be doing anything but working, you know, but the problem with that was tons of unqualified leads. So it's a television program. It's about a lodge and people are thinking it's going to be like $500, you know, that doesn't even put the deposit down. So I don't know. It's just interesting. You just have to be, that's something where you have your niche, right? You decide you're going to advertise. You got to make sure you do it in the right place and that you're ready for the response. Because if you do it in the wrong place, unqualified leads, who wants to waste all their time on that? That's a lot of time and energy.
Because at the end, it's all about satisfying an existing demand and making money with it.
Right.
So I think a Timesavers for sure, when you can niche it down, be very specific. What do you offer? And then again, niche it down, be very specific. Who's your ideal client? Because then fulfilling the leads, shouldn't it be that so much easier?
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot less to do. I mean, typically, I have a couple scenarios. One is I'll talk to somebody one time and they're trying to give me their money before they've seen a confirmation, you know, any kind of paperwork come through. Or I'll talk to somebody 2 or 3 times. And if I don't, after 2 or 3 times, I know they say follow up 9 times, you know, before you get anywhere. In my business, that's not the way it is. If I don't hear from them then they should be in my automated system, right? Where they're still seeing things. It's like I just had somebody show up a couple weeks ago who's been getting that, and it's been 2 years. And but you're still top of mind, right? Because I still love seeing the fishing pictures, and it's a dream trip for this guy to take his dad and his uncle because he's worried they're going to get too old and they're not ever going to be able to go and do it. So, but he's been watching and watching and waiting and trying to get a schedule settled to where he could go and do it. So
what you say, luxury adventure has a totally different sales cycle?
I think when you are so niched that you're talking to the right people, it's a lot shorter because people go through, and I can't remember all the steps, but people go through their fact finding. Okay, how much is it? What am I really going to catch? Where is it? How do I get there? They go through that. Then they go through, okay, the value process in their head. Okay, is it worth it to me? Is that enough money? I mean, too much money. Am I really going to get what I want? And then they go to decide, and that's how they decide whether they're going to purchase or not, or when they're going to purchase. Well, I really want to do this, but maybe if I wait until my kids get out of school next year, I could take them. Right?
Right.
So so usually the 3 phone call, I can tell exactly what they're doing. I can tell if they're fact finding. I can tell if I can provide them more information, right? I can tell if they're trying to figure out the value. And then I'm like, well, you should, that's great, but I want you to compare who else you're talking to. Good. And I know my competitors, right? So the other lodges. So I sit there and say, okay, make sure that they give you A, B, and C. Make sure they're including this, and that ask them about the tide schedule when they're actually going to be able to fit. There's all these things that I know that it's like, because they may still be perfectly happy paying less, going off and dealing with what they got to deal with over there, which I don't consider to be good enough. So,
right.
So I can hear what's going on and I can tell what's going to happen typically. But when you're selling something bigger with a higher dollar amount, the biggest problem people have to get over is if you've niched it and you're selling a high dollar item, you in your own head have to see the value. It has to have that value to you, or you can't sell it to somebody else. It's like if you drive a little Toyota and you're selling Porsches, how do you make that leap?
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to live it at the end. What you're saying, you have to be your niche. You have to live your niche, to be authentic, and to help others creating trust to you and seeing you as an authority in this niche.
And it's so funny, Dagmar, you say that, because I actually thought of that before we got on this session. I was thinking about, there's something that happened. I went to a conference last October, and I was at the bar with everybody, and I ordered a glass of wine. Now the glass of wine was $22, and everybody fainted. Oh my God, that's why I drink beer. Oh my gosh, I would never do. I'm like, I treat myself well. I treat myself, whatever I'm going to put in my body, it's going to be the best. And I just ordered another glass for spite because they irritated me with their crappy mindset. I was like, you people won't even spend, I bet you'd spend $22 on, something else that I would think was just garbage. So, but you know what I mean? It's that value system again. But you're right, you have to live it. So when I'm out, I live it. When I'm out, I wear diamonds. When I'm out, that's what you do.
And you cook fish, like you have your own recipe. So it's really, you become what you become your niche, you become what you are, and people see in you like their dream of luxury fishing.
Yeah, and what's funny about that is, number one, you have to truly be authentic, and it's hard to be really authentic, I think. Would you agree with me, ladies?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's me being as authentic as I can be. I know, but we all get kickback, but I'm like, well, too bad, you're not for me, go away. But you guys know me. Oh my gosh, I forgot what I was going to say. No, that's fine.
Being authentic. So I think can be pretty scary, because not everybody will have your opinion, right? Like what you just said with the wine.
Right.
So there are always people, they think about your actions where you think, hey, that's me, and I work hard for that, and I want to enjoy, and I don't want to go away from what I believe in. So being authentic, you really need to strongly feel good about yourself and have good self-esteem. And people see that, and like your ideal client sees that too. If you feel about yourself like some luxury adventure, so much money for only a few days, your ideal client can smell that and they will not hire you.
Right. And it took me a while to get good at sales. I had never done sales before. So I had to learn, and I had to finally step into it and go, yeah, I have to really embrace this. And I do believe it. And I do believe it has a lot of value, but it took me a while to get to the point of, why am I really doing this? I'm doing it because it's fun, because I thought it was fun doing travel. But it was more of, I had to keep digging and digging and digging till I got to the point of going, wow, this is really because I believe about the service part of it and what they're going to get out of it. Then it just became that easy, right? That was the big thing for me. And people just don't, they got to step into it. They've got to go, okay, I sell Arbonne makeup and nutritionals. What is the service I'm providing? Why do I believe that this is what people, how do I put myself behind this? Because if you can't be excited enough about what you do and what you're providing in service to people, that you can't pick up the phone, you better pick up something else to do, because you're going to be poor. That's just the facts. Yeah. Whatever you consider rich or poor to be.
Right. Absolutely. That's true. I mean, whatever you do has, if you're in business, it's got sales associated with it. Mm-hmm. And if you're not in love with whatever that product is, you're going to have, most people, I'm going to say, I've known a few salespeople that could sell anything. But I think when that happens, there's a lot of times a loss of integrity.
Yes.
Right. So to sell with integrity, we have to really believe 100% in what we're selling and what we're offering, why you're going to come to me for online training, why you're going to go to Lisa for luxurious fishing vacations. Boy, that's a mouthful. So anyways, we're coming up. We're going a little over today, but if anybody has a question last minute before we hop off, if you want to put it in the side with a /Q, that's great. And Lisa, we kind of jumped around Dagmar with the questions, but we got all of them. We didn't get them in that order, but I think we're good. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Lisa. Is there something, just a second, is there something special you would like to tell our audience, other than I've already put in the sidebar where they can find you and find out more about your awesome vacations?
Not really. I mean, that was the best bio intro ever. I'm like, God, could you send that to me?
Dagmar wrote it. Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Pretty passionate about what I do, and about other people who are entrepreneurs trying to really to reach that dream they have, and that, just enjoy the journey. Yeah, it's not all uphill, but so what? Just enjoy it. What else have you got to do? You could not enjoy it. That's no fun. I'm into fun.
Me too.
Absolutely.
So Dagmar, what were you going to say when I was?
The same.
Excellent. So what do we have next week, Daggy?
Next week, we have niching down the health business.
Oh, that's a good one, because we've already talked a lot. Those of you who've been on the other blabs, one of Dagmar's big examples is you can't just have a health business. It's way too broad. Right. So next week, you're going to be giving us the details on that, right? Yep. And so for those of you who want to subscribe, we're going to go to Dagmar's Blab account for that. I just put it in the sidebar there. So click. Pardon me?
Oh, no, you're right. Yes.
No. Yep. So click on that and subscribe, and we will see you all next week. Final words, ladies?
Just thank you for coming. Niche down and make money and make a difference in the world.
And charge a lot. Find something to make a lot of money. It's fun.
I love it. Find what you want and charge a lot for it. This was a great call. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you so much. Are you stopping the recording, Kim?